Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 PS4 review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Killzone Shadow Fall, which if you've never played it before, it's an FPS. As everyone knows, well, I say everyone, that's probably a very arrogant statement to say, but anyway, as everyone who's a fan of mine knows and has seen vids, I've never been a Killzone fan. Killzone Mercenary on the Vita, at least I think Mercenary was the Vita one, that might have been the PSP one. Either way, Killzone Vita was the first time I have ever liked a Killzone game because it wasn't a relentless slog, it was a proper campaign based around missions and chapters, and you could play it your way, and there were multiple ways to beat the mission, and there was even literally multiple ways to beat it, because instead of just saying that, you could then go on and you could choose, well, I'll take the stealthy approach, and then you play through the mission like that, and you get different objectives, or I'll take the demolition approach. And I really enjoyed it, and then I played the multiplayer, and I was in love with it. For a handheld game, it's just phenomenal, it really is. So, for the first time in a very, very, very long time, I looked forward to Killzone Shadow Fall. I looked forward to a launch FPS game. And for me, it hasn't disappointed. I'm going to pretty much start with the campaign. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to show any multiplayer off, but I will at least mention it, because the coolest thing about the multiplayer is one of the modes. Basically how you can do pretty much anything. You can create anything that you want, and if it gets picked up by the community, if loads of people start playing it, then it will become a featured mode, and that's really cool. It's the sort of thing that you choose which types of gameplay you want though, and you choose which types of weapons you'll have, and you choose this, that and the other, and if you choose fun rules essentially that people have fun with, then that's when it gets picked up, and if more and more people play it, then all of a sudden you could find yours just like plastered on the we recommend you try this, you know, and I think that's quite cool. But anyway, for now I'm going to jump into the campaign, as I say. Graphically is the first thing that anyone will notice when putting Killzone on. It is jaw-droppingly beautiful. As far as I'm concerned, me and my brother are in different camps here. He's in the Need for Speed camp, I'm in the Killzone camp, as to which one of the launch games is the best looking. And Need for Speed's got some very nice graphics on it. It's got some very good effects, I mean, like when the glass and that breaks. But there is a moment when you start Killzone where the camera pans over the city, and it honestly looks like when they do it in the Batman films. It's just jaw-dropping. It's the sort of thing that this black screen is not doing any justice whatsoever. This is honestly the only game where the loading is actually an issue, because the loading just takes forever on it at times, and it is a little annoying. So I'm early on, because I don't want to spoil anything with the story. There's 10 chapters overall, though I can at least mention that, at least hopefully without ruining it for anyone. And one of the new things about it is that you can actually use the touchpad, and honestly this is one of the few games that actually uses the touchpad. I've found a use for it in FIFA, where you push the button in and you take control of your goalie, but this is the only one that really uses an actual touch instead of just the button push. And basically it's to control your owl, which is the cool little robot that follows you around. And at this moment in time I have no ammo whatsoever, so I can't shoot anything. So I'm reliant on the owl. So you have to choose up, which is basically attack, because you've got offense, you've got rappel down, you've got stun, and you've got defense, which creates a shield, and you can fire through the shield, and it's very resistancy, and it's very cool. So for now I've selected up, and I'm going to fire the owl out, and he'll just carefully shoot them, and hopefully I won't get spotted and then shot at, but he'll just shoot them, and if he dies, like it's done there, he'll return to me automatically, and then he'll recharge, and I just have to wait a bit and fire him out again. And oh, they know I'm there this time, so hopefully he's going to actually kill him, because I believe he's the last one. Oh no, it didn't even kill anyone last time, but there we go. That's why you should rappel. I've just realised which bit I'm up to. Basically you rappel down there and collect the ammo from these guards, and then you've actually got a gun again. And the first gun that you get is incredibly cool, because it's this thing. It's a machine gun, but you can also hit down on the D-pad and turn it into a plasma charge rifle, and I will be showing those off because they are very cool. You can then, as well as being able to change weapon type thing, so like from machine gun to rifle and that, when you actually get multiple weapons, like I've got here but I've got no ammo, then you can change weapons. On the D-pad you can also push and hold right, and it'll do a scan through the well, basically through anything, I suppose. There's very few things it can't scan through, I believe, and it'll show you if there's enemies hiding around corners. Up is your objectives, and left is your adrenaline when you've got some. Adrenaline basically makes you super powered and makes everything else slow down. You've also got multiple grenade types and that, and as I've already mentioned, the owl has different abilities, of which I'm going to remember to use the repel one. Yay! So there we go. I've now got ammo for my gun, so I can at least shoot things. And I think I've also picked up a few grenades and that, so yeah, I'm at least in a far better position than I was. Control-wise, the game controls excellently. The touchpad works quite well. The most impressive thing, though, is remote play. Because on remote play, the touch screen becomes the touchpad. The back pad obviously becomes the L2, R2, L3, R3. The game automatically swaps fire, though, to L1 and R1. Because it knows that they're your main buttons then on the Vita. It's smart like that. And that is just incredibly cool, because I was worried about having to just push on the back pad all the time to zoom and fire. And it plays really well. The only downside, honestly, with it is that the back pad buttons are really small. I can't find a way to make them bigger on any of the games. But anyway, I did say I'd show off the plasma rifle, and that's why I'm here, because he hasn't spotted me yet. And you might be able to notice there's little lines on my target. They're going to charge up, and then I'm going to let go and do that. And it is incredibly cool. It's one of my favourite things to do. I'm now just going to swap back to the machine gun and reload, because I know fine well I get jumped, from what I remember at least. I get jumped from down here by a load of them, and ships fly past and they just keep dropping men. And it's just an absolute nightmare, the amount of times that you're just in danger in this one little area until you can advance through it a little bit. Gameplay wise, it is very much like, I suppose, the last Killzone, because it's not a relentless slog. It's not just go forward, kill, go, kill, go, kill. You know, it's nothing like that. They've actually made it so it plays almost like a Far Cry game. And pretty much everyone who's played this, who plays Far Cry, who I know, has all said the same thing. Yeah, this is it's very much like Far Cry. There's actually, you can be stealthy about it, you can not be stealthy about it, you can get all sorts of vantage points and things like that. It's just really cool how you don't have to just play the game the one way of just running and killing everything. There's collectibles as well, all over the map, and the first time I got a collectible was cool, but at the same time I kind of shit myself, because as many people might know, there's speakers in the PlayStation 4 pads, and I was playing while everyone was asleep, and I'm picking up an audio log, and all of a sudden this voice comes booming out of my pad, and I'm like, shit, put the pad down, close it, how do I? And it was mental, because I was doing everything I could to not wake up the whole house because of how loud it was. I've since then discovered how to turn the speaker down in the main menu, but that was just like really cool how it actually... It was like you were not so much playing the game like in real life, but it adds to the depth of the game, certainly, because then all of a sudden you can find yourself thinking, well, if I was walking around, I would have a little device, I would have that audio log playing in my ear while I was playing the game. It wouldn't be playing over the TV or anything, it plays through the pad, so I think that works really well. The weapons on the game itself as well, I might as well mention while I'm speaking about certain gear. The weapons are fantastic. I'm really happy with the weapon set. I think they work very well. They're not all like off with terms of accuracy, because sometimes that can happen in first person shooters, especially Treyarch Call of Duties. Every single weapon in that felt off and wrong, and that's why I was never a fan of it, whereas on this, the weapon's own accuracy is the problem. It's not that all guns feel off, it's just that certain weapons are better than others, which you would expect. The owl is really cool, and you can upgrade things like that. You can like get custom skins for it as well, which granted the custom skins are things you have to download mainly, like buy. It's like $1.59 a skin. It's a bit of a shame that I don't think any come in the season pass, because I have bought the season pass and I haven't found any that have came with it. And I am looking forward to seeing what the season pass brings, because they're saying about adding a load of maps and things to a co-op mode, which is very similar to a horde mode, and that's very cool. But it's one of those, it's the first time in a long time that I've actually felt the need to buy a season pass, because I thought this is something I can see me playing for months, because I actually enjoy the online. I like how it works, because the online isn't just, again, a relentless slog. It isn't just deathmatch. You can, as I say, custom create modes and things. and then there's that co-op mode as well. It's like a horde thing. This is essentially, for me, as close as you can get to something like Gears of War 3, which I would just play over and over again because I loved how a load of the multiplayer modes, and we rarely ever played deathmatch because we didn't need to, because there was so much variety. And this, it's the same again, but so it's like, it's not that we hate deathmatch, because not at all. We all quite like just playing a game of deathmatch, but we don't just want to only play deathmatch. So by adding all these other modes, it does lengthen the multiplayer for us, because then it means that we can just sit there, we can pretty much play XYZ for however many hours, then move on to something else, then move on to some deathmatch and do that for an hour or two, and it keeps the multiplayer fresher for longer, and it stops us getting bored, and it means that overall we're getting a lot more value out of our game. So that's the sort of thing that I do really like. There's nothing much really else to mention about the campaign or anything. I've mentioned the collectibles, I've just picked one up there. These are adrenaline packs, so I might as well see if I can get a fight and use one. But I also must remember that there's death, because I honestly, the whole point of this section here, you keep going down, so you keep thinking, oh well, if I go down then, and I went down there and I died, so I remember that from when I played it earlier. Right, well there's someone there, so I've used adrenaline, and as you can see, everything's much slower except me aiming, so it means that I've got more time. The aiming itself works well, and as I've already said, the weapons work well, but I'll be honest, this doesn't feel as good or as fluid as Call of Duty, and it's something that a lot of people have said, that when they were playing with this, it's the only shooter they've got, they were very worried, thinking it was the DualShock 4 that was the problem, and that all FPSs would inherently suck on it, but actually it's just Killzone itself. So I'm hoping that there's going to be a patch to fix things a little bit, because it just doesn't feel as fluid as it should, and it's most certainly not the DualShock, because we have other first-person shooters that play better. While I have not yet had the chance to play Battlefield, I have heard that Battlefield is actually the best one on the DualShock 4. But again, I can't really see anything, and at the moment in time I don't have any extra cash. The only other game that I'll maybe reviewing is Injustice when it eventually comes, because it is now a week in the waiting since it was dispatched. I can't believe how long it's taking to get here, and it's annoying because I really loved Injustice on the PS3, so I can't wait to see what it's like on the PS4. So, right then, that's pretty much, as I say, everything I can mention about the campaign. Now move over to the multiplayer, I think. So, for now, I'm in the bot zone, because it's got a bot zone, and you can choose up to 11 bots, and you can choose easy, medium or hard, which for now I'm just going easy, because I'm already going to get my butt kicked, simply because I'm too busy trying to do this, that and the other. Then you can go and choose through the maps, and they've said there's going to be some free maps in forms of DLC, but obviously you're going to get maps with the season pass, so for now I'll just choose the Divide because it's the first one on the list. Then you choose your missions, which this is what I mean, this is what I mean by the whole customization and that. So I'll switch Team Deathmatch off, I'll switch Beacon Retrieval off, I'll switch Beacon Theft off. That might be what I want to play. Instead I might want to just play some Team Deathmatch, and then also switch Beacon Safeguard off, go for Capture and Hold, switch Capture and Move off, and switch Search and Destroy off, switch Capture and Connect off. You know, see what I mean? There's just so many different things and different options that you can make, and it's just phenomenal the amount of customization. Classes, so I can enable or disable the Scout, or I can make it so that only the VSA can have them, or only the Hellcast can have them, and it's just, honestly, it truly is phenomenal when you first see the level of customization that you've got. Quite frankly, it's been, I mean, there's games like Time Splitters 2 that immediately spring back into my mind, where that had so much customization, and it's rare that games, especially first-person shooters, actually allow it. This is, as far as I'm concerned, a game that should be getting higher review scores than it is. It does seem like a lot of people reviewed this and the Killzone Beta game as if there was something different. It's almost as if people were thinking, well, we should hold it to a higher standard or something, and let's slate it for the hell of it, when actually, as far as I'm concerned, they're the best two they've ever done, because there's just so much level of depth and detail and things that you can do. It's mind-blowing, it really is. So I think I've done everything in order to actually start a game. No challenges are unlocked or statistics saved from playing bot zone. Yes, I know. Game options, join options, blah blah blah. Right, so let's see what else I need to do. supportability 6 of 6 allowed to say that there's just it's stats after stats after stats really, because now I can choose like friendly fire, close combat and things like that. It's just absolutely mental. So I think it's about halfway through loading, so I might as well at least go back and I can view the missions and I can view the scout weapons and things again, or things like that. So at least it does tell me everything, but unfortunately I think I'm going to have to do another cut because yet again the loading is just taking so long. Once you get into things, then it's your usual, I suppose. I can choose my spawn point, of which, as it's the start of the game, I only have one. I can then choose either default scout or custom scout and things like that. So it's everything that I've set up, or it's just, again, the level of detail and things you can get. So I'll go for default assault, I think. And then I'll just sit here and wait for the mission, it says. Because, well, at least that's what it's saying, we're waiting for the mission of. And I think it's quite cool as well, being able to see through the walls to see where your friends are and that. It's just, there's so much about this to love, there really is, and it's such a shame, as I say, that so few people are rating it as an amazing game, and instead they're just saying, yeah, it's a pretty good game, because as far as I'm concerned, this is the best Killzone they've ever made. And yeah, that's coming from a Killzone hater, but that's because they've actually changed so much about it to make it into a much better first-person shooter as far as I'm concerned. The campaign is brilliant, the multiplayer is brilliant, it's got a lot to it that actually makes me enjoy playing it. And I've just walked into a shitstorm of an ambush. One thing I haven't had the chance to mention, to be fair, that when you've got an owl, and you might notice that here, the owl's doing it for me, he's trying to revive us, and I've told it to accept, you can actually use the owls for that reason, and even on campaign as well. So if you've got an owl with full energy and that, and you're not in that bad a position and you don't want to have to restart from a checkpoint, you can just tell it to revive you and it'll do that, and it's just another cool little feature. So yeah, I don't think there is anything else I can actually say about the game. As you might have guessed, I absolutely love it. As far as I'm concerned, it is the best launch game that I've bought. Out of the lot of them, it's the best one to play. It's out of everything that I've got, and it's going to take a little bit of beating, quite frankly. The first and second wave after launch is going to have to go something special in order to make me sit up and take notice, because I have just been blown away by the launch. It's something that I just didn't expect. It really is. I don't know if when you're watching this now you'll have saw another vid that I did, basically the very first thing, where I just mentioned a few things about the PS4, and I did say that when we got it I was very worried that all I would play is Resogun, and then instead it's like every single game there's something that's made me play it. Even Lego and Need for Speed, which I haven't been that much of a fan of, simply because I'm not that much of a fan of the series. So I've actually been staggered by the launch. It's been one of the better ones in memory, if I'm honest. I think that is everything I can now say about the PS4 in general, about the game, about everything else. Hopefully something cool's going to come out real soon. Like, as I've already mentioned in another vid, I can't wait for Destiny. Things like The Order as well, that looks amazing. I've got Watch Dogs on pre-order because I was hoping to get that at launch and I was gutted when it was pushed back. There's just there's a few decent looking games coming out, that's for sure. Division as well is another one that's really... Division and Dying Light are the two that I'm thinking have the potential to be both excellent but also both awful, and they're the ones that could go either way, and I'm hoping they go into the excellent camp because so far I've liked everything I've saw about them. But that's enough rambling on, I suppose. I stopped talking about the game some 5 minutes ago, so I think it's now time that I end the vid. So there we go then. That's been the review. I hope you found it helpful. I don't score the games because that's based purely on opinion, so instead I'll leave you to make your own mind up. So thanks for watching, and if you've got any questions about the game that I didn't answer in the vid or that hasn't been answered in the comments, then feel free to ask and I'll help if I can. Also, if you did find it helpful, don't forget to check out my channel because there's plenty more like this up there, and don't forget to subscribe because there'll be plenty more to come as well. So until next time, this has been Demon212, signing off.